You are on the platform. Sean Plunket here until 10 o'clock this morning. And because it's Friday, it is Free Speech Friday, brought to you by the great people at the Free Speech Union. They are the champions of free speech in New Zealand. And they, of course, get involved in all sorts of issues that protect your freedom of speech, your right to say what you think in our wonderful little democracy in New Zealand. Joining us this morning for Free Speech Friday, I think by video link we have Leah, though I can't see her yet. Maybe I won't.
Oh,
you
good
don't
morning.
put it up there. Good morning, Leah. And Maurice Williamson. How are you, Maurice?
Good morning.
We've got you loud and clear. Brilliant. Now, Leah, I first want to ask, I've been having a bit of fun because the Prime Minister, who seems though he doesn't boycott anyone, he will not come on the platform. He's on the rock this morning. And I've just been familiarising myself with some of the high-end journalism and entertainment that the rock takes part in. Things like licking each other's skin tags.
Sure.
Saying how long they last in bed, running stories like News Station accidentally airs footage of dudes' balls instead of solar crypt. And I hear that you used to work for them.
You knew I did, Shawnee. I was there for about 12 years, for goodness sake. You've got to remember that you're not going to get high-class journalism. They're breakfast show broadcasters. They're music broadcasters, entertainers.
Are they?
Yeah,
is that like
yeah,
so?
well,
Is a story bloke suffers the first known vertically broken penis?
Yeah.
Is that like?
Listen. I had 12 years of we did things that part of my world, but it's they just.
Do you want to do more like that? Do you want me to change the format for the platform?
I left there on a good terms, Sean, but I left because I'd grown out of that stuff. It was a good time. Look, I enjoyed my time at the Rock. We won awards when I was there. They haven't since, but yeah, I grew up. I grew up and I moved on, and that's.
Okay, well, the Prime Minister clearly hasn't. He likes going on the rock.
No, the thing is, he knows because he's not going to get any hard questions, Sean. If you want, if you're going to, he knows that they're going to ask, do you have, pineapple on your pizza, or do you use all of your toothpaste right to the bottom of the tube? He knows what he's going to get on the show, so that's
well, I'm just saying you did not highlight the rock. Your rock experience in you when we were talking about you coming on the platform. Yeah, you might just have left.
Come on. No, I'm not. I loved my time at the Rock. I'm not going to diss them that way, but the reason and Jacinda Ardern went on there all the time because they know fully well they're not going to get hard questions thrown at them.
Right, but they might get their skin tags licked.
They might get their skin tags licked.
Let's get on to the real stuff now. A big story this week, and we had a really interesting show yesterday, and I know are you talking to Karen Chua today or yesterday? You're talking to today, which I'm really looking forward to because I think you've got a great rapport with her, Leah, and she's very much not just an example of the change that we need in our social welfare and our caring for vulnerable people. She's a product of the whole system. So we have this review. It says 200,000 New Zealanders over a sort of 50-year period were subject to abuse in state care, state or faith-based care. That's a stunningly big number, Maurice Williamson, but it doesn't represent a majority of the people who went through such institutions in that time.
Yeah, look, it's very hard to say. I mean, stuff that's back in the history, very difficult to comment on because there clearly were some ghastly things went on, and I just feel for anybody that went through them. I will say one thing though, I think Karen Chua is just an outstanding minister, and she is the best person you could have ever come up with to be sort of in that particular portfolio.
I guess the question we have as a society now is, can we put that right? How would we put that right? Much talk about compensation, which could run into billions and billions of dollars, Leah. How do we deal with the collective guilt of this?
Well, I spoke with Ken Clearwater yesterday on the show. He's an advocate, abuse survivor. He's worked for 30 years, he's worked with men of abuse. And he said not one has come through the door and said they wanted money. So if we're talking about redress financially, he said that is not what I have dealt with. But he would like to see help with, a lot of them are still living in squalor. A lot of them didn't go on to get an education, so they haven't had good jobs.
Well, I'm sorry, those all things sound like things that cost money.
No, and that's right. That's what I said. So you're not exactly going to give them, say, $100,000, but we have to possibly, this is what Ken wanted to see, assist them with better housing and food. So it's not throwing money at them physically, like giving them a wad of cash. It's giving them services, paying full services, which is still paying, but it's to make their lives better. That's we're going to talk about redressing the past. Yeah, maybe that's the way to go. But I asked the question. I heard you yesterday morning too, Sean. About it happened so long ago. It was an absolute, disgusting. What happened to a lot of people. Is money the answer? And especially for taxpayers who might say, without sounding, very hard, why are we paying for the past? So there's that. Can we afford $3-5 billion to redress it? Can we? I don't think we can.
Maurice?
Sean, no, I don't think it's to do with money at all. I think it's to do with recognition and then help if people have still got medical issues or psychiatric issues. I've really got one big question about all this. I think it was Mark Twain who said, 2 people can keep a secret as long as one of them is dead. How did this stuff go on? How did everybody go to work every day knowing that there were people on their ward beating the hell out of them or sexually abusing it? And it just, today that would be out with, there's leaked papers on everything and everyone's on the air within minutes of something happening.
Yeah, the internet would take care of that pretty quickly, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but still, you wouldn't have needed the internet. Surely people would have gone to a local newspaper or... It just seems amazing that it never, ever became a story. I remember growing up about Lake Alice and how bad things were there, and I thought, how come they didn't come out at the time?
Yeah, and I guess that's what a lot of victims say is the worst thing was not to be believed and be too afraid to say anything.
Yeah.
And that is heartbreaking.
Was it, Sean, also a different time where people just, they didn't put their nose into anyone's business? Nobody said anything. It was... Have you seen the Dilworth?
Yeah. And look, I know guys who were involved at Dilworth and the terrible damage, friends of mine,
And the kids weren't listened to, They just weren't.
The Catholic Church, look what went on there.
Yeah, but equally, I'm going to say, guys, this is only 30% of the people who went through state and faith-based care. 70% of people weren't abused and were helped. And we can't say that everyone who tries to take care of vulnerable youth and kids is a pedophile or is abusive or is evil, because the vast majority of them are not.
Agree.
Right?
Yeah. No, I agree. And sorry, just to jump in, Ken Clearwater yesterday made it quite obvious he didn't want the military-style academy. I said I was talking to Karen Shaw today. He doesn't want the so-called boot camps to go ahead. And I see, Ken, the thing is we have to learn from the past. And do you really think that what is this new academy is of the 50s, 60s. They've gone and they've changed it. And he went, no, you are right, Leah. I said, something has to be done with these kids. I know, obviously.
What time's she on, Leah?
She's first up 4 o'clock, just after 4.
4 o'clock. That's well worth listening. Guys, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I want to talk about American politics, which is all go.
Yeah.
You are listening to Free Speech Friday, brought to you by the Free Speech Union, champions of free speech in New Zealand.